Hey, so it's me, Sheldon. I'm experiencing a feeling of computer trespassing. I would like YouTube to be involved and identify what's going on, even GPS stalking. I'm convinced there are, my father, or so there's some type of fixed spectrum of simulating of the computer trespasser, the feeling of it's altering or even fabricating. I'm kind of convinced that there is police misconduct and the feeling of I kind of convinced that there's um, a cyber mafia to Elk Grove Police Department or even Wayne Allen the feeling that there is a computer trespasser or a group. Obviously, it's to the point when some of you think they will push away the lack of concern as soon as there's some are target of the feeling of the abuse of computer trespassing or the feeling that there's abuse. So it's actually a real crime. It's a federal crime, and the feeling it is there's a person fixing a spectrum or broadcasting. The feeling it's a pirate spectrum, or the feeling that there's something a bit eerie. The feeling that there's a new technology where it's able to talk inside, or if there's two different ways to if it's selling a feeling of some type of cyber terrorism, or the feeling that there's to control the person's life, or the feeling that it's multiple, or even if it's not life, it's a computer system. So it's to the point where someone's um, trust there's an online trespassing or computer trespassing that a group is trying to control American computer system. So I was convinced that there's a few the breach of security, at least to be right on it, or at least to visit Sacramento and get the idea that there's some type of wild, insane computer trespassing, including GPS stalking. And I kind of convinced my local neighbors. It's a big group. It's an Elk Grove area, Springmont. So it's to the point where I'm getting the idea that they're fabricating crime right when there is a broadcast, or even to manipulate and even convince Don Anderson. There's an older guy, a black guy. I obviously, I'm kind of convinced he has a mindset of rape. The thing is, it's a bit of a nuisance because I don't necessarily you think that you wanted to be spending your time sharing thought, or even exchanging, or even if there's a group, it's like there's a brothel you're sharing thought. You don't even have a wife of your own, so it's becoming a bit of a burden because myself is looking for my own. I don't need someone to be sharing or fixed spectrum of their own, simulating their own thought to my own. So it's becoming to be self aware, or even the Pentagon to recite Sheldon Matum, the feeling that there's a big giant security, or the feeling that there is a risk even of cyber terrorism. So the thing is, I'm having a tough time even actually getting to the gym, where I haven't been there for so long, to the point I guess I don't even look like I haven't been there for so long. So it's yeah. So if you don't, if most people you think, oh, it's to get back to work, but I mean, I'm trying to cover the mindset also. So to but thing is, yeah, and the physical part, because I kind of feel pretty drained, but I also kind of feel like I need to be on some type of vacation, just to because I feel like I need some type of a sensory deprivation. The feeling of there's intruders or multiple intruders. I don't feel comfortable with witness protection, but I kind of feel comfortable finding a new state, or just relocating. Thing is, yeah, just to be right on it. The feeling that there is too many overlapping. The feeling that there's a spectrum overlapping, or the feeling of a cyber, the computer trespasser that is trespassing on my devices. It's multiple devices, and then they're stalking multiple people. So it's it's the point where it's a hassle, it's a nuisance, and it's not and it's a feeling of I don't. It's not actually a mental depression, but the thing is, it's I kind of convinced can really risk dementia. So I think you'd be entitled to something. The thing is, I kind of I'm getting okay. I just close the door for a second. Now, I'm kind of convinced for my own mother. She doesn't understand what computer crimes are, and she's not computer tech genius. So I kind of convinced that there's something the, the, something is going on because she doesn't want to talk to me like a normal grown up. There's no communication. Um, we don't even go out together. There's something now. Obviously, there's someone that's confronted about what the heck is going on. But the thing is, I kind of convinced there's too much police corruption to the point where they're trying to despite why you're giving her safety if the nuisance are coming from her friends. But the thing is, yeah, it's to the point where I'm get I don't I don't get any respect from my own mother. So that's not normal. Um, so I'm starting to get the feeling that there's a mafia that knows, or there's an Asian mafia and a Mexican mafia also might be part of some type of money laundering. Also, yeah, I'm assuming because it's such a big kind. There's in Sacramento at least to get the idea of what type of big system this cyber criminal really has control of. Yeah, it's a big nuisance for me. The thing is, it's not. I'm unemployed. I would think I would actually be part of a classroom. I mean, I'm at an age where at least the thing is, if I'm going to dementia, I guess I probably need to be mindful of sensory deprivation or attempt to regain thought. So I'm having a bit of a difficult issue because I'm kind of convinced that there is a EMP humming over my subconscious or the feeling. So it's not a delusional. The thing is, I'm starting to get the impression there's a feeling of a cyber attack or obviously security breach. But the thing is, I kind of been if I get a if I can do a spectrum test, I can test out the radiation field to get the idea that there is an EMP humming through my subconscious. So then it doesn't necessarily it's not even a paranoia. It's just to the point you're self aware to actually do a test to get the idea that there is radiation coming through your head, or it's an EMP. Or the thing is, yeah, sharp enough to get the idea to explain yourself. So I mean, I can't imagine if I went to school, how would it be a lot more sharper? The thing is, yeah, I think. Well, there's a spectrum that's actually pushing me away. That's actually otherwise I would have been part of just normal activities. But the thing is, I can barely walk in the public areas, and these officers aren't being truthful. And I'm kind of convinced these police officers are committing a computer trespassing crime. There's just too many police officers in Elk Grove. I would like, um, you know, who knows? But the thing is, I'm sure there's other geniuses, to say something or. So the thing is, mindful to mention something, um, or even a military to there's some type of computer trespassing that the feeling of there's there's a risk to some enemy or intruder, or if the feeling of a son of an air force or son of or if it was this both, I'm entitled to something, at least he convinced there's some type of safety or claim. But thing is, I don't mean to explain myself like some kind of burnout, but because I feel like there's a new way to overlap a conscience over my head where it's kind of messing with the pattern or risk of dementia. So, but then if I it's not really much of a burnout, then I'm actually kind of like having a normal conversation. But there's been such a nuisance in Elk Grove where it seems that there's a lack of denial of explaining that there's too much GPS stalking, where it actually seemed like the police are sex trafficking, or the feeling that there's some kind of there's a lack of explanation going on at the moment. And yeah, so it's a concern. The feeling that there's no concern, at least and for their side, if they're not doing anything about it. So, and then they think it's such so nasty because then I'm going through the feeling of sexual discrimination, or there's some kind of discrimination, or there's and it's been about longer than 5, 6 years, 7 years, and some officers actually can get a discrimination within you think within 4 years or less than that. But the thing is, when there's officers and the police are all in it, then you get the idea there's a bigger discrimination. It's not just one officer; it's just all of them now discriminating against a person or a Sheldon Mayton. So, or it's just too many. So it's too, or the feeling it's a government conspiracy to the point where it's obvious. It's not even too much of a government. Now it's to the point where it's just too much. It's just obvious. The feeling that there's a mafia attempting to make an excuse of control of a government conspiracy, or the feeling that this to be honest about it, you should be able to be sharp enough to be explain yourself very, very, very well. Like even if there's a way to interface. Everything in humanity, or even if it was just humanity to other life, there's actually it gets to the point where there's neuro things are evolving to the point where our kind is kind of evolved. The thing is, or maybe not everyone. The thing is, maybe I'm just ranting a little bit because I've been a little. Yeah, so it's a bit of concern. I've been to myself for a while, and I'm actually going through harassment, and that's kind of like, hey, that's a lack of at least to be mindful of what the heck's going on, because I kind of get the idea that hey, it's a feeling of cyberbullying or even torture, but there's a computer. I'm experiencing computer trespassing, but also cyberbullying. The feeling of there's officers bullying me, or the feeling that they're ignoring, and then their lack of actual involvement of investigation, or at least concern. And then I'm saying, hey, it's an officer, or they're part of some type of underage porn, or the feeling that there's no respect. It's almost to the point where there's losing respect for actually dignity of the city, or the feeling that maybe it's not. But the thing is that the mindsets of mobs are already are dialed into the point where they're having similar mindsets of a mob, or even if they have a badge, to the point where there's such thing as crooks with badges. So the thing is, be mindful. Um, I'm getting to the point where I'm interested. It's for the interest that I even do with spectrum tests, or even in the field of spectrum. The feeling of to test when there's some kind of EMP or the EMF that's actually harmful. Now I'm kind of convinced that's what I'm going through right now. So I can't feel it right now. So I don't mind Wisconsin reciting Sheldon Mayton, but the thing is, there might be some type of dysfunction to the point where you get the idea there's even more crooks with badges even there, even if there's lack of actual concern. Um, so this is actually a big one in Sacramento. I never had this kind of intensity, the feeling of computer trespassing, or even the intensity of GPS stalking, the feeling of other officers in Sacramento don't have no concern. There's actually no concern of Elk Grove Police Department or even Sacramento Police Department that there's actually some kind of, the feeling of voyeurism or even risk of sex trafficking or themselves actually profiting of sex trafficking or even their brothel of their own, because it's very noticeable to be mindful of the Western areas or even the movies or even the feeling that officers will do or even attempt to own a brothel or and who's helping them sex traffic with their own girls. So it's interesting how things are being pre-programming, even to the feeling of predictive programming of what you expect for retirement officers. But the thing is, when you get the idea that even it's tricky. Obviously, the thing is to be sharp enough. It gets things get it's things. It, it's not that difficult to be simple work. But the thing is, I'm more interested to seek a companion or a girlfriend in marriage, and I'm actually having a delay. The thing is, I'm not. I don't. It's to the point where um there's a computer trespassing attempting to alter or even the mindsets or even the lack of concern to the point where there is a feeling of a mafia that is using psychological or the feeling as excuse as mental illness. I kind of convinces the president or role or even some kind of priest, the feeling that it's to the point where you actually can get so damn good to the point exactly what the hell it is going on. And then you get even better when you get to the neural data of everything, because then even the judges want to know who are the real threats or because the feeling of if I say, hey, I was talking to the judge, and I want the judge actually to sign a neural data of actual our own United States or even the hackers that they think that they can outsmart the system of the system. So the thing is, it's something to be mindful. Is your police department actually more of a threat to the judge, or because the thing is, or even if they're programming it to the feeling of trespassing and computer trespassing, where they're just doing it to the public, and then it's just turning to the point where they're scarring mindsets where it almost either there's erratic mindset because they're actually the feeling of, like I said, if you do a spectrum test and these officers don't have no concern and they're actually involved in some kind of cyber ring that's causing the feeling of erratic behavior, because the feeling is unusual, or the lack of concern, or even the feeling of neural fraud. But the thing is, so if I'm having a I normally, you know, there's times that I do have I do have a high sex capacity. I jack off every day. All right. The thing is, and there's a person that hates. No offense. I would. The reason why I say that, when someone forms a relationship, the thing is, I'm actually mindset actually for marriage. It's actually, and the thing is, or even the feeling of having the feeling of sexual desire for there's ways to program the mindset to actually make sure that there is actual um, an impulse to actually have for a female. It's not actually a man, but the thing is, if it's daily, it's fine. That means eventually your mindset's actually loving. It's not exactly a rape mindset, or it's actually concerned if there's a computer trespassing that does have a rape mindset, and actually it's to the point where you think you. So it's a concern, because then I don't necessarily have a mental illness, the feeling that I desire to be in marriage, that when I have a computer, I can convince that it's the president, or the feeling that there's a priest, including or even royal families, or the feeling that there are something besides non-American heirs that are trying to actually have population control of cyber networks or even neural networks, or even the feeling that there is a world order within neural order, the neural network. The feeling is it isn't necessarily it's mental illness. The thing is, it's actually, like I said, cyberbullying or tormenting. The feeling of there's ways to actually regain your speech or regain thought or even regenerate. But the thing is, it's disturbing, obviously, because you get the idea that it's been a bit too long to make an excuse the feeling that there's computer trespassing and there's GPS stalking, and it's not actually gaslighting. That's actually the feeling of a risk of neural fraud and the feeling of an, or even biometric um, identity theft or the feeling of data. Um, so, or even banks, maybe the JP Morgan or even other IMF banks, it can recite shelter matron, or even the risk of um, the feeling that there's a computer trespasser, or the feeling that it's messing with so much more, or the feeling that that when I'm explaining that I'm convinced that there's a computer trespasser, but this group is trying to fix a spectrum through the feeling that it's not. So it worries me, because then it's like you convinced that you want to align the leadership of their own spectrum. Now you have a whole different spectrum of that's trying to fix things. So it's the point where at least to be mindful of the risk, or at least why things are being feeling a bit dysfunctional, or the feeling that things are being irritated because there's a computer trespasser, or the in multiple devices, feeling of laptops, or the feeling of smart technology, smart city, or even AI. The feeling of there's AI smart city corruption. The feeling, get the idea what that's going on. The computer trespassing. Um, Sacramento, California, Elk Grove. And yeah, so I'm getting the feeling that there's some gang that wants control. And well, it's not a law enforcement, but in law enforcement. And there's, it's fine, you probably closer to a minor agent. But the thing is, it's not normal to push away the lack of concern. It's convinced that groups are profiting, or the feeling that they are criminals their own self. So I'm convinced that it's the feeling like AI robot, the feeling that the bots go against the department, or even the Terminator, actually, because of there is such thing as these officers wanted this computer system, but it's being misused. You get what? Have you ever watched the Terminator, or at least ever seen the episodes of when things, the wild attack? It's not necessarily my own manifestation. If things are just, that's just a program of a program. The thing is, when you get the idea that their families yeah, so are at risk, and these officers are obviously their mindset's a bit different, to the point where they don't have concern. So it's to the point where the robots have concern of to reshape, or even if it's a supercomputer. But the thing is, it's to the point where maybe it's I hardly know about. I'm just going this. Maybe it's just it seems realistic what I'm thinking. But yeah, when I had a time to interact with someone, or sure them share their minds every now and then, my mind's going to sound a little bit more different, or even some align with the right facts. But it's almost been, there's a group of computer trespassers that are pushing a feeling that there's a nuisance, and these police officers know they're the feeling that there's a nuisance being caused to them. So be self-aware. um, um, and who knows? Maybe in England, maybe England can recite. Maybe there's another English bank can recite what the heck is going on, or maybe not. But the thing is, I'm getting to the point where there should be a concern of the feeling of admitting there is a computer crime going on, or the feeling of computer trespassing. At least the beast right on it, the computer trespassing or online trespassing. And